Is it possible to social distance while on board a cruise ship? I'll share my thoughts on how practical this could be, coming up on Talking Cruise. Hi, I'm Chris Cardona. With all of us doing our part to stop the spread at home, work, and in public, I was thinking about what it would be like if social distancing became a part of the cruise experience. In this video, I'll share my perspective regarding key environments and situations on board cruise ships. Before discussing social distancing on cruise ships, let's talk a bit about the prospect of reduced capacity. This idea has been thrown around recently, where ships would initially resume service with fewer guests on board. The idea has merit, and aside from the obvious benefit of less people, it would allow crew more time to focus on cleaning and sanitizing. What exactly is the magic number for reduced capacity? Passenger counts would likely need to be reduced at a minimum by 25 to 50% for this to make any significant impact. One thing is for certain, if this concept does become reality, it could not be sustained indefinitely. The cruise lines need their ships at full capacity to cover the operational, maintenance, and other financial obligations for each vessel. As anyone can attest that has cruised before, arrival at any cruise terminal can be crazy. On turnaround days, not only do you have thousands of people leaving a ship, but thousands more looking to board. Many times these groups overlap with early arrivals, late departures, and unforeseen delays. In order to make social distancing work during this busy time, previous guests will need to debark earlier, and scheduled arrival times for new guests will need to be enforced. Keeping people separated during security screening, check-in, and boarding will add several hours to the overall process. To alleviate busy terminal waiting areas, the cruise lines could designate large, pre-sanitized spaces on board their ships to accommodate waves of new arrivals. While staterooms and other public areas are being cleaned, groups could be escorted to reserved dining venues for lunch to keep masses of people from congregating. Could this process work? Possibly, but it doesn't sound like a great way to start off a cruise vacation. There would definitely need to be changes made to mustering requirements. This mandatory exercise for all guests does present an interesting scenario. Typically, guests are packed like sardines onto the exterior promenade near the lifeboats or into lounges, bars, restaurants, and other public venues on some ships. Perhaps the cruise lines would have more than one muster drill scheduled to alleviate all guests moving around the ship at one time. Alternatively, if allowed, maybe a virtual cruise drill could be conducted using each stateroom's television with an automated call to confirm a guest's participation. As creatures of habit, cruisers know when and where to find a meal on a cruise ship. However, we regularly see major congestion in buffets and entrances to dining rooms. Firstly, as I've stated previously, self-service buffets should no longer be the norm. Instead, ship's personnel will be on hand to serve whatever you like. To keep social distancing in the buffet areas, guests could be guided on a one-way trip from the entrance and around the serving stations in order to maintain the flow, then escorted to an open table. This scenario would likely reduce the amount of food options available, as multiple stations would offer the same dishes. For the main dining rooms and specialty restaurants, guests would be provided with a staggered arrival time, then escorted to their tables to alleviate bottlenecks. Knowing I would never go hungry, this is one change I could live with. Even with reduced capacity, entertainment venues would require spacing of seats instead of packing the house as we are used to. To still allow all guests to enjoy performances, additional showtimes will need to be added during the cruise, with tickets being issued in advance. This ticketing process is being done on several newer ships already, so it shouldn't take much time to roll out to all ships. This scenario has a real chance of working well, but it would decrease the time off between performances for entertainers. The zero space between sun loungers will need to be a thing of the past. I know real estate around the pool is always at a premium, but there needs to be a buffer. I can also see limiting the number of guests in the pool at one time, which could have other benefits as well. There also needs to be better spacing of lines for water slides and other popular activities. This plan has potential, but I can only imagine the chair hogs plotting their next move. When getting on and off a ship in ports of call, it's common for gangways to become very busy. The process of scanning key cards on exit and additional security screening on return to the ship slows it down. On ports where tenders are required, people like to pack stairwells even though most ships require tickets to board the boats. Better management of the number of guests trying to get off the ship at any one time will provide more room in the already tight spaces. On return to the ship, guests will need to be patient in order for crew to limit the number of people using the gangway. Aside from social distancing, this is a common sense approach that would make visiting ports more comfortable for guests. Thanks for watching. Whether social distancing becomes part of cruising or not, I'm certain many changes will be coming. Don't forget to like this video, post your comments and questions, and subscribe for more Talking Cruise.